Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever that you are at right now. It's been such a long time since we actually had a guest live, and I'm so excited to have you here today. So today we have a guest. Her name is Jody Milward, and I'm going to introduce her first before we get started in the conversation that we want to discuss today. All right. So first of all, welcome to the Fearless Fempreneur Show, where we interview amazing women entrepreneurs just like Jody here today to learn and share their expertise with all of you here at the Fearless Fempreneur community. So, without further ado, let me introduce our guest for today, Jody. Now, Jody regards herself as an accidental entrepreneur, being a Facebook specialist, being an ad manager specialist. Sorry, she likes. Just like many women, she didn't want to return to a 9 to 5 office gig after having children. Now, she then started her first business as a private investigator. Very interesting, right? But after 9 years, 7 figures in revenue, and much government and governmental red tape, it was time to move on, and she stumbled into the social media and paid traffic world. From her first client in 2014, where she was only making $12 per hour, to generating over 7 figures in revenue 6 years later, she has lived and breathed digital marketing as a freelancer, subcontractor, in house, agency owner, consultant, speaker, educator, and mentor. So, without further ado, I want to welcome Jody here on the stage today to discuss a quick start guide to become an ad manager. Thank you so much, Jody, for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, be with your community, and share a bit of what I've learned along the way and hopefully inspire them.
All right, so let's get started with the first question, which is, can you just share with us a little bit about the day in the life of what you do at your work?
Okay, so a day in the life of an ad manager. Well, first of all, what I love to do and what I really recommend all my ad managers do and what I try to strive for them to do is to have a power hour, which is the first part of your day you dedicate to your business. Because I mean, it's so easy to just jump in, go check the campaigns, and before you know it, you're in a rabbit hole of optimizing and split testing and turning things off and on. So the best part of your day, that first hour, spend it on your business. So that's where I'll come in. I'll look at doing some networking because that's such an essential part. So important to have a network, people who you can connect with, and a pipeline of potential leads. So the first part of the day, power hour. Then I'll typically go in and look at my communities and be answering any questions back there, or talking to my potential clients, opening up communication. So we do a lot of things in Slack, and that's our workspaces for our clients. And we'll start up some client communication for the day, just give them an update what's going on, or answer any questions that have come in the night before, because hashtag boundaries, right? If they're sending messages in the night before, we don't want to be responding to messages when we're lying in bed or, 9 o'clock at night or having dinner with the family. So circle back, answer their questions. Then we go in and have a look at the campaigns. What's happening there? What needs to be optimized? What needs to be turned off? So generally you go through and do a bit of a sweep of what's going on, make note to come back and make changes later on. Then we'll go through, look at some emails, communication, etc., have some lunch, morning tea, wherever we're at in the day, and then get to work on campaigns. So if it's loading up new ads, if it's ordering new copy, if it's doing some further optimizations, that's when we really get meaty with things after lunchtime. Go through, and then at the end of the day, we just make sure campaigns have launched, they've started off, they're scheduled, do a double check, answer any communications with the client, put our communication to bed for the night, and then repeat the next day.
Oh my God, that is a lot of things that goes on into the life of being a Facebook ad specialist, just like
Yeah.
yourself.
It's not just running ads. It's because when you're a business owner and a service provider, it's the relationship with your client. that is the thing that's going to see you through. And especially when it comes to the world of Facebook ads, because it's a roller coaster. Campaigns can be doing amazingly one day, and then a few days later, there's no leads that have come in, or the return on ad spend is gone completely 𝗍𝗶𝗍𝗍. So we need to have a great relationship with our client. Keep them informed, keep them up to date, let them know that we're working on things or looking at things or optimizing, so they know that we've got their back, right? We're active on the campaigns. You haven't gone AWOL. They know that we're there and they're communicating with us, and that they can trust us with their ad spend and essentially their business, because that's what we're doing as ad managers. We're helping them to get in more leads and sales and grow their business.
Yeah. So that relationship as it is, that what you do, Jody, with your work and your business, it sounds a lot like prioritizing the success of your clients' businesses. So the success of your clients' businesses leads to the success of your own business. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. And because if they're happy, then they're going to refer people to your business as well. So a happy client helps you to have a successful business as well, with anything, not just Facebook ads, but I think with any business. Yeah.
So you said you stumbled upon social media and paid traffic world. Could you just share with us like one insight into this world that you have discovered, like in 2014? So how did you get started then?
Yeah. Well, it started out because I had the private investigator business and it was time for a change. So I was actually exploring opportunities with a couple of business partners. And that's when we actually went into white labeled weight loss supplements. So very different to what I'm doing now, but it's like awesome. We ordered, some weight loss pills. We got our own label, we got our own brand, we did our own thing. And I remember like learning, okay, how are we going to market this now, and learning Facebook ads. And I remember the first sale that came in, I'm here in Australia, and it came in from someone over in Florida, nobody that we knew. And it was like, wow, look at this. There's this person on the other side of the world that's found us and they've purchased our product. So it really showed me the opportunities that were there with Facebook and Facebook marketing. That one, any business could use it to get sales. And then two, for people like me now who are service providers who are helping businesses to grow and scale, it's giving us an opportunity to learn a skill and work from home running Facebook ads for these businesses. So yeah, it was so eye-opening. I just love the opportunity. And like, here we are, we're connected now thanks to Facebook ads. So it just opens up a whole new world for so many people and businesses.
Sounds really exciting, and I'm sure that you have served lots of clients managing their advertisements. So, this whole topic that we have today about quick start guide to becoming an ad manager, what is the first thing that a small business owner or a solopreneur, women entrepreneur can get started in this line of work?
Yeah. So, the first thing you need is you would create, okay, so in case you don't know, there's Facebook, or as they're starting to call it now, Meta. Meta is more the business side of Facebook, okay? So we've got our Facebook newsfeed where we get on, where you're probably watching us now, and that's where we'll see all our friends and family. Then there's the Meta Suite, which is where the business side of it, where you manage your Facebook page. So you've got a profile if it's, just for your everyday sort of stuff. And then your business stuff, you'll have a Facebook page. So that's where you can manage your page. And that's also where you'd create like an ad account and all the other business side of things. Okay. And that's where you can start. You could start by creating your own ad account. And you don't even have to spend a cent on your ads, but you can get in there and you can start learning and exploring. You can start creating your custom audiences. Follow the process, install pixels on your website, get some runs on the board yourself, exploring all these assets there. Then once you feel a bit more comfortable with doing that, you could be just putting it on your personal profile, not your business page, but your personal profile, and say, hey, I'm exploring the opportunities of running Facebook ads for businesses. So if you know anyone who'd be interested in getting someone to run their Facebook ads for their business, send me an introduction and I'd be happy to talk. And there'll be people out there that can connect you, if not direct contacts of yours, who would say, yes, I would love you to get started on my Facebook ads. Very transparent and clear that you are learning, but you're saving them the pain and effort of trying to learn themselves. So that's a great way to get started. And then also to get those testimonials and case studies from those people and give you the confidence as well to then keep going, and then, increasing your rates as you get more confidence and more skills and more results for businesses.
That's really a good line of work. So the journey itself, like what you have just pathed out, it does seem daunting in the beginning because there's new terms. If you're very new into the world of digital marketing, those terms that you just shared just now could be scary to some women. But the whole point is about familiarizing yourself and taking one step at a time versus dumping into it and then hoping to become a maven in it overnight. That it doesn't work that way, right? It has to go step by step, just like what you have pathed out. Yeah, so in your experience as well, prior to this, we actually asked our community for some questions that they would like to ask you. And one of the questions that they really want to find out is, what is a good ad budget to start on a daily basis?
Oh, that's a great question. And as ad managers, we get that all the time. So my answer to that is it depends on your goals. I've got a strategy which I call the client attraction code, which you can run for $5 a day, $10 a day, or even $1 a day. Okay. What that's doing is that's helping you to build an audience. Now, any business and every business can and should use this strategy. It helps to build up brand awareness. It positions you as the authority in your niche, as your target audience, because you're sending your ads to your targeted ideal client, and you get seen in their newsfeed, and you can retarget them day and day and day again, right up to a whole year of retargeting. And so that just positions you as the authority in the space, because it's like, wow, they're in my newsfeed. Oh, they must be really good. They must be, you've positioned yourself up here versus other people who aren't even advertising. You can be presented as the brand, the Coca-Cola of your industry, and be seen by, your ideal client over and over again. So that is a strategy that anyone can use, and it just takes a couple of dollars. Now, if you're wanting to do list building, you're wanting to get people onto your list, that's going to cost a bit more. They're the kind of audience that everybody's going for, right? Because we'll be using a conversion campaign. We're going after those people who want to opt in or take this action straight away. And of course, that's what all your competitors are wanting too. We want this hot audience who's ready to opt in right now. So it costs more. When I say costs more, it might be $2 a lead. It might be $10 a lead, depending on the niche that you're in. Okay, so going for those conversion campaigns, if your goal is to build your list, it's going to cost more. Then, if you're wanting to get people to buy something, so if they're opting in for a webinar and then that webinar is sending them over to, purchase something or to book a call, then that's going to cost more. Like your webinar audience, again, it depends on the niche. If you're a business to business, it tends to cost more than if you're a business to consumer. But then you typically need to get more consumers opting in to purchase, okay? So if that's your strategy there, you've got a webinar funnel, getting people onto a sale, then it's going to cost a bit more. So if we look at an example like that, if you've got $10 a day in ad spend and it costs you $1 for someone to click and go to your website, okay? So our cost per click is $1. Now, typically not everybody gets there, right? 7 people out of those 10 may get there, but for this case, let's just roll with 10. So $10 a day ad spend, it's costing you $1 to get someone to click and go to your website. So 10 people get to your website. If you have a 25, let's just say a 20% conversion, no, we'll say 30%, I'll be generous, a 30% conversion rate, just to keep the numbers nice and even for me, that means that out of the 10 people that get there, 3 people are going to opt in for your webinar. So that's costing about, so what's that, $3.30 to get somebody in. So you'll get 3 leads for your $10. If it's costing you a bit more, it might be $5 to get somebody to opt in. So that's just 2 people a day to opt in, or 3 people a day to opt in for your webinar. Now, obviously, not all 3 are going to buy. So again, it's a bit of a numbers game as to how many people are going to convert. So if we go $10 a day, we get 3 people opting in a day. That means we're going to get 21 people opting in per week. Okay. So that's giving you a bit of an idea of what a $10 a day budget is going to get for you. If it's a $5 a day budget, then obviously less people are going to opt in. If you can put more into your budget, then you'll get more people opting in. So when you look at it that way and you go, okay, you get an appreciation of the numbers, then you can get some realistic expectations as to what kind of results you're going to get with your Facebook ads.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So a lot of people are wondering about the budget, maybe because as they are starting out, they want to know how much to set aside. But one of the considerations that a lot of women entrepreneurs have asked me, myself as well, is that which comes first? Is it more important for you to run advertisements, or is it more important for you to build the organic reach so that there will be some, level of authority, driving the traffic back to your pages? What's your
Yeah.
thought on that? Yeah.
Okay, I love a combination of both, because most of us would know if we have done any outreach, it's those warm audiences that do tend to convert. Okay, and they will convert easier and a higher percentage. So by doing that brand awareness, like I said, with that like client attraction code where it's $1 a day, use a video campaign and an engagement campaign, you're getting out in front of that audience that you can continue to retarget again for just a couple of dollars a day. But then I would also be inviting them to come over and opt in for whatever it is that we're wanting them to opt in for or purchase. As well as, so this is the strategy that I have: a video magnet and a content magnet to build that audience. But then there's also this section of the audience who are ready to take action with those conversion campaigns. So I would love to have a bit of a budget there to get those people in straight away with our lead magnet. So I would say, look, if you had $10 a day that you could put towards a lead magnet, minimum, ideally, and then just an extra, let's see, $1 for a video campaign and an extra $1 for a content magnet and engagement campaigns, that's an extra $2, so you're at $12. And then you've got some retargeting of that nurture audience. So say an extra $3 that could go towards retargeting your 30-day audience, then that's $15 a day, which would be a great place to start. So building your audience, as well as bringing in the audience who are ready to take action right now and convert and opt in.
That's a really, really insightful thing to share, because I know that in the world of marketing, the buyer's journey itself starts from awareness, and then from awareness you go over to consideration, and finally to conversion. So it's interesting that you have pointed out that the awareness needs to come together at the same time, concurrently with your conversion or even your consideration objectives. So that's a really great strategy, and I hope that the ladies who are listening in right now would find that very insightful and also helpful for you to get started. Now, Jody, we're just very curious. Now, what is the highest budget that you've actually worked with before?
The highest budget I've worked with, I've had $100,000 a month in ad spend that I've been managing, and that's like for one account. So there's been that account, as well as additional accounts that have been doing $30,000 a day. So all up, there's probably been about 160 to, if they're launching, $200,000 a month that I've managed. Yeah.
That's really good. I mean, that's a big amount of money to spend. It sounds scary at first because I had goosebumps just hearing $100,000 in ad spend, but it's possible. And of course, like what you have shared, also for every $1 that you invest in it, if you get $3 back, that is already a great result as it is. So if you're spending 100,000, you're actually receiving about $300,000 back in business revenue.
In a
Yeah, is that
perfect
usually, yeah, in a perfect world? Yes.
In a perfect world. And that's where it's also the importance of what are the ascension offers. Because sometimes it's like, even with $100,000 in ad spend per month, that could be a self-liquidating, right? Which means that they're spending that much to get that many leads in, but they're really making money on what are the ascension offers. So the back end. So it could just be, we're paying that, that's all taking care of itself, and self-liquidating its cost. But then the real profits and the real money may come in their ascension offers, right? It's like, okay, so they've bought a $37 product. That's been where the $100,000 has been spent, but then they're getting people on sales calls, or they're then promoting their next offers. So with, $100,000 ad spend, it's like you don't start there. Like there was one that I had scaled up to $100,000 in ad spend, and we started at $90 a day. Okay. And sales came in. So we just increased it and keep increasing. And we scaled, since everything was going so well, we scaled hard and fast. But there is the approach where it's like, okay, you can just gradually increase. So as you get the data in, and this is where a lot of people who are doing their own ads can get stuck. Things start going well, but they lack the confidence or the knowledge or the insight to say, hey, my costs are being covered here with the ad spend. So I can just increasing, 20% a day. If things are doing really well and you've got the budget, you go, great, I'm actually going to duplicate this and I'm going to put $200 into this ad set. And then you let it settle, see if it optimizes in, and then continue to tweak along the way. So it's actually, and while it is, I remember the first time I had $1,000 a day to spend in one ad account, it was like, holy cow, it's $1,000 a day. But it's actually easier to manage a higher ad budget than it is on a lower ad budget. Because when you've got $1,000 a day, $500 a day even, you've got the capacity to test different audiences, different ad sets, get some retargeting. You get a volume of traffic in, and it's easier to manage your ads. When you do just have $10 a day, $15, $20 a day, anything under $100 a day, it's actually harder because you don't have the budget to get more people through to your website, and therefore more retargeting campaigns. So I actually take my hats off to people who are just starting out and doing $10, $20, $50, $15 or $50 a day, because that's harder than it is $1,000 a day budget.
I think that makes a lot of sense too because of the algorithm, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. If you've got $1,000 a day, and if we do the example, if it's costing you $1 to get someone over to your website, and you had $1,000 that was just getting people over to your website, then that's 1,000 people a day that would be getting there, versus $10 a day and getting 10 people there, because that's only 70 people in the week versus 7,000 people in the week. That's a retargeting audience that can get traffic sent out to it. If you're trying to retarget 70 people a week, it's not going to happen. Not if they're going off over to a landing page or to a webinar, and then you're wanting to retarget them with a conversion campaign to get them to come back and purchase. There's other strategies that we use, like reach campaigns, etc. But even those ones are more challenging to feed out these days.
Amazing. Jody, thank you so much for sharing all these things. Now, I want to wrap this up by also tapping a little bit more on the way when you were starting out. So, if there was one advice you can give a younger version of yourself, what would that advice be?
Okay. Respect yourself and your boundaries, because when you are starting out, you'll want to really prove yourself. You'll get nervous, and you'll probably actually also take on clients that you shouldn't. There'll be people, and these are like some, red flags that I'm always telling ad managers. It's like, if someone comes to you and they want to run Facebook ads, you might just be so excited that, wow, I've got a lead, and I've got to close them, and I've got to run their ads for them, and I've absolutely got to crush it. And you'll take them on board, and they're actually not ready for Facebook ads. They probably don't have a funnel. They may not have a proven offer. They may not have the budget for ad spend and ad management, but they just don't want to do the ads themselves. So you take them on board, and unfortunately, you've set yourself up for failure, because they haven't been ready. They haven't got a validated or proven offer. And you may think then that you have failed, whereas in fact, they haven't properly dialed in who their avatar is. They don't really know if it's an offer that their avatar wants. And then back to problem number one, they don't even know who their avatar is, and all these other things that can combine for the lack of results. Facebook ads are just one part of the equation, right? They need to know their avatar, they need their offer, they need their messaging, they need to know that the funnel takes people through. Does their webinar cover the pain points and convert? What's their email open rates like? All of these elements. So many ad managers will go into it and then they'll think it's all up to them to bring in the leads and sales. And unfortunately, that's what their client might think as well. They've created this over here. Now I just need to drive traffic to it, where there is so much more to it. So understand that it's not just you. Ads are just one part of it all. And have your boundaries around that as well. So while your client might, message you on a Saturday night or on the weekend or outside of work hours, maintain your boundaries. You don't have to answer straight away because you're not a doctor. Okay. So have those boundaries in place and just go, hey, great. Even if you do reply, and this is where I say right at the start, make it clear that these are the hours, these are the responses. If there's an emergency, like your ad account shut down, then we'll look into it. But otherwise, things are coasting along. We're managing the campaigns during business hours, and that is fine. So otherwise, yes, if you do answer back, just say, great question. I'll circle back to that in the morning, okay, when it's work time.
All right, that's a really good advice. I think this whole month, somehow or other, for the women that I've spoken to, the topic of or the theme of the month has been boundaries, and so important, especially when we are running our business from home. We have families that we are taking care of, just like yourself. Drawing that boundaries, making it clear of when you're working, when you're not. That's a really important aspect in your business. So,
Yeah.
Jody, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, you can just head over to my website at just like my name there, jodymilward.com. And you can pick up your own, quick start guide to becoming an ad manager and download that and look at the information there. And that could be a great starting point for you.
Great. So we're going to drop the links as well in the replay version of this. So if you're listening and watching this on the replay, you can just click on the link that we have dropped below in the description or in the comments box below. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Jody, for sharing your insights. It was very, very helpful. And I'm sure the ladies who are listening in right now have felt elevated, felt more motivated to now run their advertisements for their own business. So thank you so much, Jody, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, so everyone else, keep learning and keep believing in yourself because the world needs an inspiration just like you. And I'll see you soon in the next episode of the Fearless Fempreneur Show. Bye for now. Take care, everyone.